So today we're going to do another hair exam. Alright, so this was from one of our Bigfoot groups. Actually in the Bigfoot world, somebody had commented and asked about somebody, if anybody knew somebody that examined hairs. So this is from Thomas. So I won't say the last name online here. Alright, so this was this is from Colorado. So the whoever found this in Colorado, they sent it to Thomas in Minnesota, which is either their friend or family in Minnesota. So Thomas sent it to me. Alright, so I'm going to open it up and we're going to take a look at this and see if we can determine what it is, see if we can identify it. They're wondering if it's Bigfoot hairs. Alright, so I'm going to put some gloves on. And actually I'm gonna go into my kit here. Because I have gloves and everything in here, and I have masks. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a mask on too. So just in case they decide to have these tested, if they decide to have them DNA tested or anything like that. Then I'll be using a mask and my gloves. Alright, so I don't need to have them on for this. And that way too they're not fogging up. Alright, so let's put some gloves on. I gotta get some more gloves like these. These are my last couple of gloves from this kind. These fit better than the other gloves I've been using. Alright, so let's open this up. Alright, so this is from Thomas in Minnesota. Alright, and let me make sure the camera is recording. Okay, it's recording. I just wanted to double check. Okay, so Thomas sent me a note as well. And the hairs. Alright, so I'll use my phone here in just a moment and look at these. And I'll show you these up close. Alright, so he says, Dear Tim, here's the Bigfoot hair, and he sends his email address. And he gave me that also already. So just email me your opinion. If you need more hairs, let me know. I'm sure I'll get more in the future. Tom. Alright, so let me get my phone. video. Alright, so there's the hairs. And already I'll say they look like human hairs, but a lot thicker. So this is going to be real interesting. And this is plenty of hairs to look at these and do this. This is more than enough. I didn't expect him to send me this many. So they look similar to human hair, but they look a lot thicker and a lot coarser. Just looking at it with the eyes. Alright, so we'll get the digital microscope set up here. Alright, so let's get them out first, I guess. I got my tweezers. So I can already tell you I've collected hairs like these myself in the past, and these look a lot like them. So with some like this, I've got a few here that are separated. So let me keep them separate. It'll make it easy. Alright, so there's still a few strands in there, so let's get started with this. So let me show you that real quick too. Alright, so just with the eyes here, these do look like hairs. Because we're looking to make sure if they're fiber or if they're hairs. And then if they are hairs, what kind they are. Alright, so I'm recording right now on the laptop. Alright, okay, so I'm going to go like that. Alright, so here's the digital microscope. So we're filming. Alright, so this is up close. This is the digital microscope. Alright, so this is rounded, that's what we're looking for. So that end looks like it could have been cut, but it's at a sharp angle. let's look at the other end. I'll just try to get the center of the screen, but sometimes it's hard to do. Alright, so let's look at another one. Here's another one, the end of it. Alright, so let's look at the thicker hairs here. There's one there in the middle that looks like it's been cut. But I've heard they use rocks to cut their hair. So that's the end of the hair there, the smaller tip. Alright, so these are definitely hairs. So I'm going to turn this off and then we'll take a look at it with the compound microscope. Okay, so this is just with the light from the top. Alright, so let me get this on here. I'm gonna try to get it lined up good. Alright, so this is what I'm looking at. Alright, this is from just the light shining down on it. So it's looking like the scale pattern is going to be real small. I want to make sure that's saved. Alright, so that's looking down with the light from the top. So the outside scale pattern is looking really small. Alright, so let's look at this again. Again with the phone. Okay, that's with the phone. This is with just the light from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to take a minute and look at this guy. I want to make sure if I'm seeing a medulla or not. Okay, again here, let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay, this is with both lights, the one from the top and the bottom. Okay, that's just the light from the top. So the outside cuticle is really fine. And then this is the light from above. No. This is the light from the bottom. Just the light from the bottom. Let me get it back around. Alright, so I'm looking for a medulla. So I think what I'm seeing here is just a pigment line. I don't think it's a medulla. I don't think that's a medulla. And again, that's just the light from the top. And that's both lights, the top and the bottom. So what I'm trying to look at right now is just the light from the bottom if it has a medulla. But I think what I'm seeing here is the pigment. Alright, so I think what I want to do now is get a measurement on it, how thick it is. Alright, so let's turn that on. so let's get a measurement on the thickness. Okay, 0.11 millimeter. Alright, so the thickness is 0.11 millimeter. And it all looks consistent. So here's another one. 0.12 millimeter. Alright, so let's see what we get here. Okay, so our 0.11 millimeter is 0.004 inches. Okay, so looking this up, I had it saved in here. So human hair thickness varies widely, typically from, which it says 17 to 181 micrometers. Okay, so it's about 0.002 to 0.004 inches, depending on genetics, ethnicity, and hair type, with fine hair around. Well, now it's going back to the other measurement. Right, so human hair is 0.002 to 0.004 inches. And we're looking at 0.004 inches. Okay, so I'm going to make a cast of the hair, because I got plenty here to do that. And I'll show you that too. I'll show you what I'm doing there. So I'll make a cast of the hair so we can look at the scales really good. This may possibly be human, because it looked like some of the ends were cut, and it's at the thickness of human. So we'll look at the scale pattern, and because I'm wondering, with me not being in Colorado, I don't know all the animals that are there. This is definitely hair, but it's not Bigfoot hair. Alright, so I'm going to take a break here, and then I'll come back and show y'all. I'll make a cast of the hair, and I'll show you what I'm doing there. And then we'll look at that under the microscope. Okay, I got it set up right here, so I can do a cast of the hair. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'll do 2 of them. So what you do is take a little bit of clear fingernail polish. So I like to do 2 of these since the slide's so big. Let me get one of these that's pretty straight. So what I'll do is I'll take one of these. I'll take one of these hairs, cut it in half. Alright, and then place it down in the fingernail, that clear fingernail polish. Let's see if I can redo that one. Okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to let it sit there for 15 minutes. And then I'll pull it out. Alright, so after my timer goes off, I'll pull this out. And then it'll leave us a cast. Alright, it's been 15 minutes. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes, so we'll get these out. Alright, we got them out. So I'm trying to move it around a little bit so maybe you can see where the hair was. Alright, so now we'll put this under the microscope and look at that. Alright, so let me move this a little. And I'll get my phone here too and show you. Alright, so let me get my phone here. Alright, so this is the cast of the hairs. So you can see them right there. You can see both of them. Alright, so this is the cast of the hair. Okay, this is just the light shining down on it. Okay, that's both lights shining on it. That's the light shining down from above. So what this does, this makes a cast of the outside of the hair. That's the light from underneath. So I'm going to move this too and look at the other one. Okay, so I'm looking at the second one now, the second cast, and it actually turned out good. Alright, so see the scale pattern? So the scale pattern is really fine. So this is looking like it's human to me. With that scale pattern like that, is a human scale pattern, and also the thickness is within human, and it's looking like it doesn't have a medulla. Not on the cast here. The cast, this is just showing the outside, but the hair itself didn't look like it was showing a medulla. And the like I said, the thickness was within human, and then some of the ends were cut. Some of the ends looked like they had been cut. Trying to get this to hold really still. Alright, so to me this looks like human hair. Because I was wanting to also try to make sure that this wasn't an animal. I don't know all the animals that are in Colorado, but this to me looks like it's human from the different things I'm seeing here. The scales on the outside of the cuticle of the hair. The hair that some of them, several of them look like they had been cut on the end. And then also the thickness. So the thickness was 0.004 inches, and that was that's human. Okay, I went back to a different spot on the first one. So on the first cast here, I went back to it and went to a different spot. So it shows the scale pattern on it really good on that one right there too. So this definitely looks human to me. Now, just looking at it with the eyes, I found hairs before myself that look like this, and I found them on a barbed wire fence. So to me, I mean, these look really thick and coarse, but the diameter falls within human. And some of the ones I found before, it made me think of chest hairs. And like I said, I found these out in the woods, a pretty good walk to get back in there, and found them on the barbed wire fence. And they looked a lot like chest hairs to me, and they look thick like these. So I'll be getting those out soon too, and all those the hairs that I collected and going through them more too. Because when I went through them before, I didn't have the compound microscope. Now that I have it, I'm going to go back through all these hairs, and I'll do some short videos on all the different animals, and then we'll have them to always look at for comparisons. Alright, so I'm going to send these back to Thomas. Always mail the hairs back or give them back to the people that give them to me to look at. So I'll mail these back to him, and along with a short video of my analysis here. Alright, so I've determined these are not Bigfoot. I've already realized these are not Bigfoot, and I'm seeing things that's making me think they're human. But I'm also I've been looking a little bit, trying to see if I can determine some of the different animals in Colorado, if this could be something else than human. So what I want to do here is I want to go back and look at it again with the digital microscope. Okay, it's recording. Okay, so one thing I want to note is the color. These are dark colored hairs. And I want to look at the ends of them again. So that one looks like it's been cut. Another one there looks like it's been cut. That one looks like it's been cut. See, these look like they've been cut. These all look like they've been cut. So they're definitely hairs, they're definitely long, they're dark. So the skull pattern looks human. A lot of these have been cut. And I haven't seen one yet that looked like it's had the bulb part of the root. Or if these have been pulled out. that had been snagged and pulled out, you would see the root in some of them. So they're definitely hairs. They're staying circular. So there's no roots here. There's no roots here that these have all been cut. So I was looking up also, I was looking online too, trying to find what the hairs of elk and buffalo and anything else like that I might think could be in Colorado that's been cut. Alright, so these have all been cut. And when I measured the diameter of the hair, it fell within the human range. It was like the thickest of the human. The 0.004 inches. Just see a couple of those there. Those have been cut. Alright, so these have been cut. Okay, so before I make any conclusions here, I'm looking at these again. I'm trying a couple different hairs here from this too as well. Looking at it some more. Alright, so this is the outside of the hair, which is the light from above. So you can see it's got real fine scales on it. You can see like right there through the middle, it's got real fine scales. Alright, so I'm gonna keep looking at this. Alright, so I'm still working at this. So I've got right here the light shining from underneath. There's a little bit of medulla. It's not continuous, it's not solid. So the medulla is fragmented right here. So right there in the center, there's a little medulla. So it's not solid. I'm trying to get this a little better. Alright, so right there in the center of the hair, there's a little medulla. And it's fragmented. Alright, so I'm going to look a little bit more here. And I've added some light to that, to the bottom. Trying to help, but I don't think I needed it on that one. See, I took it away and it's still... I took that light back away from the bottom there. So it's just a compound microscope light now. And you can still see it's the same. It's just a little bit of medulla in there. Cut, and there's no actual root here with these. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say these are human. I wanted to come back and look again and make sure I'm not missing anything. So I'll say these are human. So I'm going to put these back in the bag again, and I'll get with Thomas and let him know. And I usually always give the hairs back, or mail them back, or give them back. So I'll mail these back to him. Alright, stop that and go to that. So I'll do a little recording here too. Alright, so I'm deciding these are human. A lot of these were cut. There's no root here. They all look cut. The scale pattern on the outside, when I did the cast, it really looks human. It matches human. The diameter matches human. The 0.004. And they're really thick. So I was having a hard time seeing if there's a medulla. One part there, it looked like I could see it pretty good. It was just a little bit of medulla fragmentary. Alright, so I'm going to say these are human. Alright, so I did that hair exam here. And I took some time and went over it good. And from what I was finding, I decided to go back to the digital microscope and look at it again with that. Because I wanted to make sure of the color, so I decided these were human after looking at it again with the digital microscope. Because I noticed at the beginning some of them look cut. So looking it over better again now with that too, with that digital microscope, it looked like all the ends had been cut. So that's human. That's telling me that's human, because we cut our hairs, and there's no bulb or root part in those where they would have been snagged out, hung up on something and snagged out. Like a lot of times I find my hairs that I find on barbed wire fences, so they get snagged and it pulls the root out. The ones I did for Kathy, the hair exam I did for Kathy, they got snug on the tire. They got hung up on a tire, a little snag on the tire. So there was some roots in there. It pulls the root out as well. But with these, there was no roots in this. So I'm here in Florida, and all of my research so far has actually really been Florida, other than learning what to look for the Sasquatch hairs. And I try to put all my resources into my videos when I can. So like when I determined the Sasquatch hair, I put all my resources in there to what I was comparing to determine their Sasquatch. And I try to put resources in there like comparing, showing what I'm looking for human hairs. So I try to do stuff like that. Alright, so I'm going to get these in the mail back to Thomas and let him know that I decided these are human. In my opinion, these are human from what I'm seeing here. So this is all part of our research, looking at stuff like this, trying to determine what it is, looking at stuff scientifically here. Alright. Alright, so now that I'm done with this exam here, this hair exam, alright, so I wanted to go through this with you, my findings. So I messaged Thomas and I let him know, this is what I told him. Alright, so I told him I worked on the hair exam yesterday and this morning before work. I did just a little bit more there to finish up to make sure what I was seeing, because I did go back in and with the digital microscope and look at them again. So I told him they are human. They are human hairs. They're very thick. They all have cut ends. So all the ends on it were cut. There was no roots of the hair, no bulbs or roots. Alright, so I told him they all have cut ends. The scales on the outside all match human. And the inside has a fragmented medulla matching human. So these hairs were really thick. I had a hard time seeing the medulla. And I got to one part there where I could tell that had a fragmented medulla. Alright, so I spent some time researching animals in Colorado too, just to make sure I wasn't mistaken. I was looking at bison or buffalo, elk, deer. I was looking at some of the animals there and that would be in that area to try to make sure I was comparing it to that as well. They were not, I realized pretty quick in this that they were not Bigfoot hairs, because they matched human with being cut. And also with being cut though, I've heard people actually see Bigfoot's actually cutting their hairs with rocks, or grooming, like a female grooming another one with cutting their hairs with a couple of rocks. So I didn't just go by the hair being cut. So also, like I said, I told him that I was looking at a lot of the different animals and looking at their hairs, and some of that was kind of hard to find too. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't mistaken, and that I was looking at the scale pattern right. And also, I told him I'll be putting a video together in a couple days, and that I can send him a copy of it. So if he wants to use it, he can. I always like doing that. I can either send it to him through email, or I can put it on a USB drive. So usually if I'm working with another researcher, I'll put my footage on a USB drive and give it to them or mail it to them. I like doing that, and then they have a copy. It's easy for them to use, easy to access. So then, after I messaged him that and told him that, then I sent him another message and told him now that I'm done with the exam, and I told him what I thought they were. I asked him, I told him I was curious as to where they were found. And also told him that I'm guessing that these are from a Spanish male. They were dark hairs, and they were really thick. And with them being cut on the end, I told him that I think they were probably from a beard, from a Spanish male's beard that had cut some of it off. And I told him I was curious about where they were found, because I didn't want to ask that up front. I wanted to be able to just sit here and do the exam and figure it out on my own what they were. So now that I'm done with it, I asked him, I told him I was curious about about where they were found. Alright, so he told me that someone sent them to him. They told him that they saw 3 Bigfoots crossing the pasture, and they took them off, the hairs off a barbed wire fence, and they were wanting to find somebody to test them and check them out. So they sent them to him. So I'm taking it that this was probably like some of his younger family members were messing with him. Because he replied back that he thinks they were hoaxing him or bullshitting him. And so they were probably like sending them to him, just messing with him, trying to make him think that they were real Bigfoot hairs. So he had he found me and sent them to me to look at. So he's saying that that he'll send me more hairs in the future if he comes across more. So I'm taking it this was probably like some younger family members that were messing with him, and then telling him that they were Bigfoot hairs and they seen the Bigfoots, and like maybe they don't believe in it and they were just ridiculing him. So that could have been the case of this right here. Alright, so that'll finish up this video. Alright, so I'm going to have some more hair videos coming too. So I'm going to get some more of mine out from the past and look at some of them again and separate some and do some different exams on them. And back then too, a couple years back, I didn't have the compound microscope. So I have it now too to look at those. Alright, so that's the findings on this hair exam.